God bless you. Thank you for staying tuned. If you're just tuning in, this is Rivers Edge Today. I'm Dr. David J. Rogers. We're here with Brooke Freeman. Brooke, we were just talking about how God uh, just will go from what we think we want. And, you mentioned Psalm 37:4, give us the desires of our heart. Uh, I kind of flipped that because I used to think that it was, the things I want, he's going to give those to me because I want $1 million.
Right.
And I'm like, no, he turns it around and he says, I'll give you the desires of your heart. So he's putting in our heart things that we desire. So those wonderful things that we love to do, or even those things that we go like, I want to find people who have gone through that pain that I've gone through and help them get through it. And that's part of what you were mentioning. And now our God has blessed you on the other side of a lot of things, and now putting you in a position where you can do that. We were talking before the program started, and you'd mentioned something which I thought was great. Understanding God's design for me. And there are so many people who go through things and they just, why and how and what's going on, Lord?
That the Lord very much so kind of had to clear the slate to rebuild and clarify with me what his desires were for me as a woman. And the generation of coming up, it was, go to college and you have a career and you're financially independent and these things are the things that define you. And then the next thing would have been being a wife and a mom. I didn't come in that order, remember, but I got to be a mom and then a wife. And then all of that was turned upside down for me. And all of a sudden, I didn't have an identity. I didn't know how to study myself and understand what my purpose was. And so the Lord essentially said, I have to deprogram you from what you think you ought to be. And let me show you what I designed you for. And I actually said once, I'm a better mom because I work. And the Lord was like, okay, well, let me show you how I'm going to make you a better mom by you being just home. So once I remarried, the Lord brought me home to be a full-time wife and mom. And for the longest time, I had a hard time even filling out at the doctor's office occupation, homemaker. I was a successful pharmaceutical rep. I was financially independent and to have all of that turn for me, which is not everyone's plan, but the Lord knew the things that had become more important to me than him, had become more important to me than my home, than my family, even though I would have never verbalized that, right? I was working to live, but really I was not. Those had become the things that made me feel important, made me feel secure. And so removing those things for me was part of his journey in teaching me that I am enough in who he designed me to be as a woman, as a husband's helper, as my children's mom, and that I can be confident that that's enough if that is what his plans are for me in that. So the first couple of years of that were about a lot of refinement and feeling like I was not doing well at my job. I was like, some days, did I get the laundry done? I felt like I was more efficient when I worked outside of the home than just being home. And I really felt like a failure in a lot of areas. But the Lord, little by little, by his grace and by his encouragement and the community that he put around me, allowed me to be completely content in that place of ministry before he expanded to show me how he could now use me outside of my home. as long as that would maintain its position of first ministry.
And that's a key statement right there. Not just for the wife and the mom in the family, but for the husband and the dad in the family. That first ministry is always has to be, should always be, what's going on with the home and the family first.
And it's a hard thing to maintain. It's a very hard thing to maintain. Women were very relational, right? And so we tend to be, I mean, Mary and Martha, right? Like we're busy, we're fellowshipping, we're also cooking and cleaning, and we're doing all the things. And so it's very easy to fill your days up with a lot of things. And for the Lord to kind of remove all of those things so that I would see the value in, so that I would recognize my need, the Lord's need for me in that position before He allowed me and entrusted anything else to me, that those things would not be compromised
Right.
for the sake of the work that He had otherwise.
God's plans for us are different than our plans for us.
Without a doubt.
And He has a tendency, if we listen, to bring us to the point where what's really important is what we end up doing if we really listen. Because, and I mess with some people's minds. Again, I preached this in front of our church, kind of mess with them. God's not interested in what you can do for Him.
Right.
I don't need your help. If the Lord could say that. And I really mess with people when people go, God needs me. No, God does not need you. It's worse than that. God wants you. But He wants you to be like Him. So you're going to go through some things.
Right.
And go through some challenges. And for us as parents, the chief challenge is to take those kids and raise them up in the way that they should go, that when they're our age, they're not departing from it.
Right.
They're continuing in it. Brooke, we have to take another break.
Yeah.
This has been so good. Thank you. This is eye-opening, and I hope you are being blessed by this. If not, then you need to replay it and just slow things down a little bit.